Good evening, I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Thousands of workers from government and the private sector joined for what has been described as a march of unity through Bridgetown. They are calling for a dialogue with government regarding the recently imposed budgetary proposals. Lisa Broom tells us more.
Trade unionists say they wanted to send home the message to government that workers are not happy with the recently announced budgetary measures, that they are united in their position, and that there is a need for more talks on the measures. And police estimate that around 20,000 people heeded those calls and came out to march today. So just before 11 a.m., workers, a majority in uniforms representing both government departments and private sector companies, accompanied by music trucks, moved off from Queen's Park. It then took them just over an hour to complete the route through the main streets of Bridgetown, from the park along Fairchild Street, over the Charles Duncan O'Neill Bridge, down Wharf Road, up Broad Street, across Marhill Street, along Roebuck and Crumpton Street, and back into Queen's Park for a rally that lasted about 2 hours. Many of the stores remained open, some, from all indications, operating on skeleton staff. President of the National Union of Public Workers, Akani McDowell, says he was surprised by the turnout, but he is confident they got their message across.
I think that it really shows how disgruntled, how concerned people are with the way that things are being done in this country. You have two social partners saying to the government that you need to engage in dialogue. Unfortunately, the government has not really given to all of those requests that we would have made. So therefore, we are here today to say, well, look, you have to be willing to listen to us. Once the workers of this country have concerns, you have to be willing to address those concerns.
And Barbados Workers Union General Secretary Tony Moore says she's satisfied with the way the march came off.
We have taken to the streets in a very peaceful protest that I'm very, very happy about. Couldn't have wanted it any better, and I think the statement that we intended has been made. It is now left to government, without any deadline effects, to respond.
Up until the end of the rally, police did not have any reports of incidents. Lisa Broom, Cbc News.
Meanwhile, the head of a local trade union believes the social partners must meet on a more consistent basis. President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Pedro Shepherd, made the comments during the rally which followed the march through the city. Sharika Griffith has more.
The crowd reduced significantly once the march returned to Queen's Park, as employees left to make their way to work. Those who remained heard from heads of the organizations responsible for the march, the unions and the Private Sector Association. In his address, President of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Pedro Shepherd, raised the need for greater dialogue among the social partners.
The governance model being practiced is not lending to regular meetings of the social partnership, including the trade unions. As a matter of fact, what we have seen, and certainly can speak for the Barbados Union of Teachers, is an almost oblivious acknowledgement of its existence over the last 5 or 6 years.
Notwithstanding the issues with the implementation of the National Social Responsibility Levy, Mr. Shepherd believes a salary increase for teachers would cushion the effect of the heightened tax.
Let us therefore get back to the table quickly and settle salaries for public officers so that the impact of the National Social Responsibility Levy would not be felt as hard. Let us dialogue, be apprised of, and understand the real problems being experienced by the government.
President of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Charles Herbert, one of the main principals behind the protest, believes the march was a success. He's now asking Barbadians to have patience while things are set in motion.
And slowly, hopefully, things will start to change, or the dialogue will start to take place. It's not going to happen immediately. Give things time. We've made our statement.
Although the General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union, Tony Moore, didn't give any timelines for a response from government, head of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, says she expects to hear from the Frundell Stewart administration by the end of the week. Sharika Griffith, Cbc News.
Well, some government ministers are asking who's really behind today's protest action. The consensus seems to be that if the protest is about an absence of dialogue, Prime Minister Frundell Stewart has indicated the protest was already agreed today. The ministers voiced their concerns on the developments during a DLP FATS meeting at the St. Giles Primary School. More from Kishmar St-Just.
Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite is convinced the opposition Barbados Labour Party is quietly working behind the scenes of today's protests. He says it comes despite efforts made by Prime Minister Frondell Stewart. Mr. Brathwaite maintains that the first order of business should be the protection of workers.
We say to you that these are the alternatives. We either raise some additional revenue, as we're doing, or we cut the expenditure, which means send home your workers. And you say, let's go marching. Let's agree with the same private sector organizations whose only remedy to us has been to cut expenditure, you know. All they've been saying to us consistently over the last couple of months has been, you need to cut expenditure. Let me put it slowly, you need to send home more workers. That's what the private sector has been saying to us over the last couple of months.
Minister of Education Ronald Jones says the apparent motivation is to bring down the current administration.
They rush to say after the WhatsApps and other little things start to leak out. That's not true. Let us move, they said, for a vote of no confidence in the government of Barbados. And when you look at all of them and their names and their associations, you know to whom they are associated.
For Minister of Transport Michael Lashley, he says despite the negatives from the opposition BLP and other quarters, some Barbadians are not buying it.
They're saying to me, but you know, people saying that, you know, the opposition is saying that things bad and things rough. But I went down to the polyclinic today, 6 Rose Polyclinic, and they got sorted out. I got sorted out. My son's still getting some school books. I can still depend on my MP and other persons in this government to get help. So when you talk about fake news, I want to place that on the Barbados Labour Party.
Minister of Health John Boy says he just wants all sectors to show respect so dialogue can continue. Kishmar St-Just, Cbc News.
Candidate for St. Michael East, Nicholas Allen, is looking to reclaim the constituency for the Democratic Labour Party. Allen, a product of the constituency, says he is ready to serve.
This has always been the party which represented the poor and marginalized. The above-mentioned factors prompted me to join the Democratic Labour Party in 2008. I am standing here in front of you tonight as a living testimony, fully convinced that my candidacy would not have been possible under any other party in Barbados. This is a party of the people, by the people, for the people.
Motorists are in for some relief as a number of roads across several parishes are slated to undergo repairs. That's the word from Minister of Transport and Works, Michael Lashley.
It's only recently that Cabinet decided that they will allocate about $8 to $9 million for a new CAF program, and the roads are in St. John, roads in St. Michael, roads in Christ Church, roads in St. George, yes, in St. Michael East too. We have also identified roads to be done. And I want to say to you, you know why you have faith and confidence in this young man? Since he became candidate, I've been bombarded with letters on top of letters on top of letters. He wants all the roads due in St. Michael East.
The opposition Barbados Labour Party will seek to use the parliamentary process to press for an urgent meeting of the social partnership. Opposition leader Mia Motley made the disclosure late this afternoon. She said through today's march, the unions, the private sector and ordinary Barbadians sent a clear message to government and the opposition that the opposition will be following up on it in the House of Assembly. To this end, she says St. James Central MP Carrie Simmons has written to the Speaker of the House in Parliament.
To have discussed pursuant to Order 18 of the Standing Orders a definite matter of urgent public importance with respect to seeking the government's willingness to convene an urgent meeting of the social partnership so as to diffuse the tension and the industrial protests in which the country has been engaged for the last week.
Opposition MP Kerry Simmons was more specific about the motion.
Quite clearly, the specific matter is the deepening impasse between two members of the social partnership and the government of Barbados. That impasse is so deep, in fact, that it is fair to say that the social partnership is now fractured. And we, as legislators and part of the governmental apparatus of Barbados, feel that there is a role for the opposition to play in this matter. And that role, simply put, is to try to, as best as possible, urge upon the government to return to the table for the purpose of having discussions about the very austere and burdensome national social responsibility level.
Okay, we'll take a short break here and come back with more news.
Don't let your data experience slow you down. Step up to Digicel, Barbados' fastest 4G network, more than twice as fast as the slow network. Get more with Digicel. Digicel, the fastest 4G network in Barbados. Dial *153 to sign up to Digicel today.
Be a part of the action, but be apart from the crowd. It's a great way to be there without being there. Watch Soca Royale on pay-per-view via MCTV channel 118 for US $25 or Barbados $51. For MCTV bookings, call 228-6288. CBC, sharing it all on pay-per-view via MCTV. CBC, your link to the festival.
Looking for the best stage of the festival? It's the Cbc Festival Stage, where the stars are sure to appear.
Yes, I get a lot of crap. Listen, there are a lot of people that are recording that shouldn't be doing it. They should be sweeping the road, as far as I'm concerned.
So don't get on that because the whole of Barbados are set go down, then all of a sudden that go down, it cannot be bashment soca, it got to cross over into the main soca drum. But that sample condemn rhythm from Jamaica, no, but your criteria, that make it bashment soca.
I am saying that when you look at the music over the years, it was never given an identity.
Watch Festival Stage Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays live on CBC TV 8 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Festival Stage is repeated on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9:03 p.m. and Fridays at 10:03 p.m.
Flow brings you superior value in home entertainment, designed around the way you watch, talk, and connect. Introducing Flow Ultra, the new TV, broadband, and home phone plan with over 165 of your favorite TV and music channels, plus 175 megabits broadband, so you can surf faster and play harder. Get basic and advanced call features and 1,500 minutes of free international calls, all yours for only $230. Sign up for Flow Ultra and save over $180 per month. Flow Ultra, the superior value in home entertainment. New from Flow.
Farley Hill was a paradise for soca lovers yesterday. Thousands of them attended what's undoubtedly become one of the biggest and most anticipated shows for Cropover. Soca on the Hill. Sean Farrell reports.
8 hours of soca plus over 20 local and regional entertainers. This proved to be the perfect formula for patrons to enjoy themselves at Soca on the Hill. Locals and visitors worked up a sweat to the blazing hits. It's an opportunity they get once a year.
Soca on the Hill 2017 is fantastic. Straw Hat Posse, big up from Goodland. We're enjoying our time here, and I'm all the way from Florida, so all the posse in Florida, you need to be here, crop over.
It's nice. It's good vibes, good drink. That's it, man.
It is fantastic. I didn't even know who the heck were here. We loving it bad.
Great. That's a nice lime and everything cool. Good vibes and everything on Sunday, you know. It's all right.
The local flag was flown high by several artists, including RPB, Edwin, Peter Ram, Lil Rick, Marvey, and Biggie Irie.
It was great, you know. Soca on the Hill is always good. The crowd here is always good to me.
I get the chance to sing 20 minutes, sing my hits from the past, and I always get a good response here, so for me it's an easy show to do.
I had a wonderful time. I always have a great time here on the Hill. Love to see people happy and having fun, good, clean fun. And in the heart of the crop over season, moving towards the last 2 weeks for crop over, and it was really great being out there. Love to see people enjoying the music.
It was the first time Trinidadian artist Patrice Roberts returned to the stage in Barbados after giving birth to her daughter.
It's always a pleasure to perform for Bajans. This is my biggest fan base. I don't even want to forget them. They've always been supporting me from ever since starting of my career to now. So I want to say big up to all the Bajan fans. I love you. Soca on the Hill, if you're not here, you're missing something. I mean, unforgettable.
Culture Minister Stephen Lashley also soaked up some of the festivities and praised the 4D entertainment team.
I really compliment the organizers for ensuring that beyond what the NCF offers within Crop Over, we can have very successful private sector driven events that basically continues to pull the crowds. I think it adds to what Crop Over is about. Crop Over is about ensuring that not only can people enjoy themselves, but is a tremendous fillip for our economy.
Other performers included Skinny Fabulous, The Ultimate Rejects, and Ricky T. Based on reports from these patrons, the 2017 edition of Soca on the Hill was definitely the world's greatest soca party. Sean Farrell, CBC News.
Thanks, Sean. Well, if Saturday night's Scotiabank Junior Calypso Monarch Finals is a precursor of the Picardy Crop Final, patrons are in for a great show. Thousands filled Kensington Oval as the 7 to 12 category got the ball rolling. By the time the dust settled, there was a tie for second position. Brown Star with Don't Pressure Me and Master Keys with A Child's Plea both earned 74 points with solid renditions. Miss Kibaba completely blew away her competition with her piece Bring Back the Love, totaling the maximum 100 points.
We hit every day, I just cannot understand why we all just...
Defending Monarch Summer finished fourth with Potholes, which earned her Best Soca Song. She gained 54 points. Competition in the 13 to 18 category was tight, and by the end of the night, most of the unofficial judges at the Oval picked the top 4, but they were uncertain about the order. Defending champion, the MC set the bar extremely high with the category opener, Who Mad? However, he had to settle for third with 76 points. To demonstrate just how close the competition was, second and third were separated by just 2 points, as the overcomer brilliantly performing Save a Child amassed 78 points. Sparkle Tea's This Golden Chain had a timely message of Caribbean unity and made reference to the upcoming Carifesta 13 celebrations. She rendered beautifully, and her on-screen and on-stage presentations were educational and relevant. The 18-year-old won her first Junior Monarch title after competing since the age of 12. She was dominant, distancing herself on 86 points. Lady Nika, with the very popular Questions for the Minister, placed fourth with 60 points. Children living with diabetes continue to have a place to turn to each summer, despite reduced funding. This year's edition of Camp Pride, which lasted for 5 days, concluded with a cook-off. Sharika Griffith was there.
At 19 years old, Asha Warner has been living with diabetes for the past 16 years. He's also been attending Camp Pride for over a decade, although in recent years he's graduated from camper to assistant counselor. The skills he's learned at camp have ensured that the disease he's lived with most of his life has not hindered him in any way.
For me, it's been fairly normal. I've been able to participate in all the other activities that I've wanted to do. The only real difference is basically managing my eating and taking insulin.
Emma Field wasn't sure what to expect when she first enrolled in the camp in 2015.
It would have taught me how to test properly, how to know the symptoms of when you're low, and just to take the amount of glucose 1 year low.
What has your experience been like interacting with other children like yourself?
I thought it was going to be hard because they would isolate us, but like they let you go all together and you make new friends.
And that's exactly why Ryan Weeks and his wife decided to enroll their daughter in the camp last year.
That's one of the key areas for us, helping her to be able to interact with other children, recognize it's not herself or that she's not necessarily in the minority, but that there are other children around her age and so on who are also living with diabetes.
President of the Diabetes Association of Barbados, Trudy Griffith, says the camp, which used to run for 2 weeks, has now been reduced to just 1 because of funding. However, it continues to benefit those who attend.
There was one parent who had commented during the course of the week that their child was averse to injecting their own insulin, and during the course of this week they were not only instructed to inject their own insulin, but now they want to do it for themselves. So really and truly you are seeing some progress in terms of how children are getting more involved in their own management.
On the final day, the younger campers tested their cooking skills against their older counterparts. Resident nutritionist Nicole Griffith says she had to come up with creative ways to encourage the campers to eat healthy.
This year we decided, all right, so children like fast food. So every day we did a meal that was close to a fast food meal. So one day we had pizza, but it was pizza, but instead of having regular toppings, we had toppings like carrots and celery, and instead of using just tomatoes paste, we pureed vegetables and use those also. So they actually got to choose what toppings they wanted, making that a complete meal, but using alternative stuff.
In the end, the younger team members earned bragging rights for their meal of grilled fish and potatoes and sautéed vegetables. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Spiritual Baptists will say their goodbyes to their late Archbishop Malcolm Babb on Friday. A Thanksgiving service for his life will be held at the Jerusalem Apostolic Spiritual Baptist Cathedral at Elan Grove Christ Church. Babb, who took over as Archbishop in May of this year, passed away last Wednesday after ailing for some time. His body will lie in state at the Zion Apostolic Spiritual Baptist Church at Richmond Gap, St. Michael on Thursday from the 4 until 6 in the evening. Well, after the break, we'll take a look at stories making headlines across our region.
Community Files. Join the members of the Randolph Phillips Polyclinic's Men's Health Group as they celebrate Emancipation Day with a museum tour and picnic on Tuesday, August 1st. Buses will leave the Polyclinic at Oystons at 9:30 a.m. and head to Arlington House Museum, Speightstown, St. Peter. The tour will be followed by a picnic at Farley Hill National Park. For further information, please contact the Polyclinic at 428-3250.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Regional policyholders of the British American Insurance Company Limited may be one step closer to receiving a payout 8 years after the company collapsed. Coming out of the 84th meeting of the Monetary Council of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank in Dominica, it was reported that the council received a report from the Technical Core Committee on Insurance, BICO, which indicated a payout could come for the thousands of affected policyholders later this year. The plan of arrangement BICO and CLECO Act has been passed in all ECCU member countries and in the home jurisdiction of the Bahamas. Council noted that once the agreements of the respective courts are received, this would pave the way for the meeting of the creditors and the distribution to BICO policy holders in the last quarter of 2017. There was another prison break in Guyana. This time, 13 inmates managed to escape. The prisoners reportedly dug a hole and fled the highly walled area. 90 prisoners had been held in the area up to last Friday, as authorities had feared that they would have created havoc had they been transferred to the recently asphalted and roofed area. Heavily armed police and soldiers have been deployed around the East Coast Demerara Jail following the July 9th escape and burning down of the Georgetown prison. Government has since appealed to the public to remain calm and vigilant. In Trinidad and Tobago, Cabinet has taken a decision to create 75 new positions in the public health sector to accommodate medical interns at an estimated cost of $8 million. Health Minister Terence Dale Singh says the initiative has become necessary as there have been difficulties in finding placements for graduates to complete their internships, which is a mandatory requirement of their programs. Minister Dale Singh says there are currently 296 cabinet-appointed positions for interns, but that number has been deemed insufficient to accommodate the large number of applicants each year. A peek into the world of sports is just ahead, but before we get there, here's a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.